And
Oh, welcome back, everybody.
did you
We're
clean
so
your room like I
excited.
asked?
Eileen bringing springtime realness. Tell us about your Luke tonight.
This is sort of a church bake sale 1963. I just
Love
made
it.
lemon bars, which clearly, you got to coordinate the look with the dish.
And did another housewife also make lemon bars? And are you feuding?
We're fighting. Yeah.
But with smiles and cake.
Yeah. This is the pre-fight look. The post-fight look is like my lips are over here and there's like one eyelash on my head.
Oh my God. No nails, just like they're in someone else's chest.
Yeah, you can just see them sticking out of her
Oh,
neck.
girl, this has been a week. It's Tuesday and I just feel like it's already been a week.
I know. I have to admit I'm a little depressed today, to be honest.
Admit it, yeah.
And we're honest about mental health on this channel. We don't want to say we're not okay when we don't want to say we're okay when we're not okay because it sets a dangerous precedent, Gorge. But no, I think I kind of expected 21 to be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, new year, new administration. We survived an insurrection. We've got an actual plan to like solve the
Oopsie
health.
coopsie.
Yeah, oopsie croopsie.
Oh.
I was gonna get a mug that said oopsie coopsie, and I didn't get one in time. So
I mean, we got
forthcoming.
time. Yeah. No, I get it. And I think like there was also important, I think, for mental health, there was a need to separate the years. I think that like people are like, oh, you're not gonna wake up in 2021, it's gonna be different. It's like, no, but there is something to the reset of New Year's. And that's just it. And I know people get annoyed about it. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's real, you know?
Yeah.
And it felt so different this year. And it also kind of felt, of course, like a letdown. And Biden's administration coming in and finding in Trump didn't have any vaccination plan, like didn't have fucking anything.
yeah,
Just had like, I don't know, like a bunch
show
of
of
dead,
hands. Who's shocked? Right?
just
Like,
a bunch of like dead possums in a room labeled Operation Warp Speed. Like, I don't fucking know what happened there. You know what I mean? Like, what? So I get it. And like, I have been feeling particular burnout too, that I was like, oh, I was rested and over the holiday and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh yeah, no. So it's real, and we talk. This is an uncovered dish on mental health.
uncovered.
Yes,
Yeah, transparency and honesty, girl. And I feel like we're nearing the end of the first month, and I'm looking around like the champagne is flat and the caviar is spoiled.
yes, yes.
Now
and
what?
I'll tell you now what. Now you make a gelatinous monstrosity that you force your friends to eat,
That's right. We're making our own fun now. We're still
which
stuck at
is
home.
which is what I made for you all today.
Oh my goodness. Are we
I don't
ready
know
to
if
talk
you.
about the dish?
Mm.
Are we ready to explore the journey of the dish?
So shout out to Chelsea Long, who recommended this in the chat last week. So this is
Thank
a
you,
dish.
Chelsea. Truly. Thank you.
When I throw up, I will be mailing the throw up to you, Chelsea, in Newark, Ohio. So good for you.
Yeah,
This
so we're doing what we're calling Skedio salad.
Qu'est-ce que c'est, Skedios?
Qu'est-ce que c'est Skedios? Because we're French, we're a little cultured here on this channel.
Cultured. What are they called? What are they actually called? They're not called Skedios. What are they called?
Spaghettios.
Spaghettios. So,
And finally,
my
the
ex,
vulgar Skedios.
no. But so vulgar Skedios, where Armand is from.
Yeah.
So we just don't know. So, my ex, who Eileen and I lived with, had a roommate like years before we dated. Of course, there's like an ex's ex-girlfriend story in here always. Had a roommate before we dated, and their roommate's dog, they had a dog named Skedios, and I just always thought that was like the best name for a dog.
That's so
I never met this
cute.
dog, but right, isn't Skedios a good name for a dog?
Yeah.
So that's like in my head still, and I've never shook it.
Oh, that's adorable.
So let's make sure we get a good
Oh, let's get into this dish.
shot of this dish.
There we are.
Are we on the dish cam?
We are on the dish cam, yes. In its
Oh,
full unadulterated glory.
So this is SpaghettiOs power with Vienna sausage. I would call them like almost like barricades, like
Like
it's
Lincoln
very-
Logs.
yeah, it's very Les Mis. Like at the end, like do you hear the people sing? Like, it's very, do you know what I mean?
I do. Yes, I do. I think it adds an architectural quality.
It does, yeah. Well, here's the problem. The Real Journey, am I still on Dishcam?
You are still on Dishcam. Yeah.
I've never been on Dishcam. I just feel like I've made it. You know?
Hetty was on Dishcam before you, which I think, we have to fix now.
And we're also staying in theme, by the way. What up, canned meats? Back to the original concept of Spam. This is, I think, just a cold hot dog, if memory serves. Anyways.
Yeah, slightly seasoned, cold, slightly seasoned hot dog.
Are they seasoned? Okay, so, in finding these ingredients was a real journey, but finding a Jell-O mold was almost impossible, and also I didn't try so hard. But what I did have was a muffin tin. So,
yes,
you can. But I really think
a lady's
what
best
this
friend
taught
in a pinch.
and look at the elegant display for your friends and family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Brooke.
Wait, look at that. Look at it.
Ooh, dynamic. She's dynamic. She's going places. You don't know what she's into. She's got stuff going on.
You know what she's into? Puking on a Tuesday night. All right.
So, Brooke, tell us, as you're preparing to plate the dish for us.
I feel like the Grinch.
Like cutting the roast beast?
Yes, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, that does seem like an appropriate name for that dish.
Well, yes. Okay, so I'll keep it on here. I'll talk you through it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, walk us through it step by step. So tell us, Brooke, what kind of event would you prepare this dish for?
You know, what's... Ooh, it's a little crumbly.
Are we thinking casual or are we thinking formal? Because I could see kind of like a...
I'm so glad you asked. There's really no place this dish... Oh my God, Penny is so interested in it. You see her? There is no
Penny approved.
place... Yes, Bulldog approved. There's no place this dish wouldn't work. Also, I just cut through this Venetian sausage like butter, and it's terrifying. Or Vienna sausage, I don't know. Like, it's way too soft to be a meat.
Yes.
Okay.
It is a very, very soft texture. It's like kind of I'm gonna make this term up. This is not a real term. It's kind of like double processed meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's almost like when you make a copy of a copy.
Yes. So put it in the blender, switch it to puree, and then keep going.
Oh my god. Okay, so
that's what I imagine.
So yeah, really a breeze and an anytime dish because they only have the SpaghettiOs with meatballs, so that's cool. But you really so it's really easy. Water, condensed tomato soup, gelatin, 2 cans of SpaghettiOs, and then as many Venetian sausages as you want, and then your soul. So it's a really quick breeze.
It's a dish about sacrifice. As I said on the Queer Umpus Instagram page, which, by the way, thank you, Queer Umpus, for letting people know about
Queer
us.
Umpus. Yeah. You're so sweet.
Yes,
oh my God, love y'all.
But as I said on the Queer Umpus page, this dish is a stare into the abyss that does not blink.
No, and I put it on a Williams Sonoma plate because I thought, why not?
Dress it up. Dress
it down. It's anytime you want gastrointestinal distress, this is here for you. So without further ado, let's see. So the real question is, do I want to bite with 2 kinds of meat? Which I think the answer is yes.
Brooke, it's 2021. We can't have it all. Go big.
Oh God, it's just so soft. I don't understand it. It's meat, but it's so soft.
Those of you with delicate constitutions may want to avert your eyes from the dish cam. Okay, go ahead, Brooke.
Oh my God. Oh, it smells so bad. Hold on, I have my wine ready. Okay.
How is it? What's the first word that comes to mind?
Soft.
Soft.
Everything just mooshed.
Yeah. How's
the meatball mooshed? So this is the inside of the meatball, and this is the inside of the sausage.
They're exactly the same.
So similar.
Yeah.
I feel like Chef Boyardee. This is not Chef Boyardee. This is Walmart knockoff SpaghettiOs. What up, Walmart? Terrible place. Don't go there. But you know what I needed? I needed tomatillos, and it's the only grocery store around me that has tomatillos, which this is not for.
It's also hard to find Knox unflavored gelatin, I found out.
Yes, they also had that, and I didn't have it at my regular grocery store. Interesting.
Yeah, because who's
And
cooking with
terrifying.
unflavored gelatin
Me.
Just us.
Just for keeping them in business.
Yeah.
They're like, it's been a real upswing in sales in Columbus, Ohio, and Palm Beach, Florida.
There's been a 2,000 increase in sales in gelatin because somebody bought gelatin. You know what I mean?
Here's the real dish queen. You can take me off the dish cam for this. The dish queen is I bought 2 packages of gelatin because I didn't know how much the recipe called for. I just kind of bought all the shit. So now I have
the same thing.
I have 6 packs, which is I just did this. So that's cool. There we go.
I have 6 packs.
I have a 6-pack. Nope, I don't. Oh God. Yeah. Really, really and truly, please get in the comments if you enjoyed seeing that. I will have another bite for my fans. Because
I think we're sort of spiraling into like self-abuse right now because we just keep going back to the gelatin dishes. So please get in the comments and just like tell us that it's okay to move on from gelatin. I mean,
yeah, please give us the strength to find our voice in something besides this. Also, my bulldog is passionately engaged in this particular gelatinous. Yeah, she's very excited about.
Yes, this is relevant to her interests.
It is, yeah. Processed meat. And also, like, as someone who's not, I'm a dairy-free vegetarian. What up?
Girl.
My dog suffers because my dog never gets meat. So, insert lesbian joke here. So, very exciting.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I texted Brooke in the middle of the week and because I was like, girl, somehow I always seem to forget this. You don't eat meat. How are you going to do this dish? And you were like, I'm going to take one for the team. And I was like...
This is about the craft. This is about the craft.
You heard it here first, everyone. We don't mess around. We get right to it.
We don't mess around.
We throw caution to the wind and our moral scruples out the window just for you so we can get Vienna sausages at Walmart. What a noble...
Do you hear the people sing? Okay, so...
We're doing the Lord's work today.
We are. All right. So I am going to drink this red wine and we are going to talk about all of the exciting things that have been happening. And you know, I think even in the scheme of mental health challenges, it's sometimes almost refreshing now to turn on the news in some ways, not cable news, but to read about what's happening and what's going on because there's been so many executive orders. And I just want to provide you some talking points, Brooke's talking points. For those of you who might have Republican family or friends, like I do, and remind you when they're like, all these executive orders, the Muslim ban that Trump put into place was an executive order. Okay? That's what happens when Congress is in a gridlock. There's executive orders, and that's what presidents do. So all Biden was undoing the Muslim ban the way Trump instated the Muslim ban. So you can go ahead and talk to Aunt Cheryl and explain that because Mitch McConnell and Citizens United collectively ruined Congress, that this is where we're at. Now, you can also explain to your family that if the Democrats don't get enough done in the next 2 years, which is currently what the Republicans are saying, because they have control of everything, remember that Democrats have a very narrow majority and there's a lot of conservative Democrats. We have folks like Joe Manchin who are very against giving checks to anyone, and very, very against that, individual checks and things like that. So no, it's not carte blanche. There still needs to be a lot of consensus building, a lot of compromise, neither of which anyone who is remotely connected to Trump or the Republicans wants to do. Yeah. I just want to those are the conversations I've been having this week where I'm like, no. You have the authentic conversation. Another great talking point I've heard from Republicans that makes me laugh cry is they're like, well, they're delaying the impeachment trial. And that's really, not unifying the country. They're delaying it because they don't have a choice because Republicans and Mitch McConnell could have taken it up well before weeks ago when it was actually relevant, but they didn't because they are actual monsters. You know what Mitch McConnell is?
Tell me.
This is what Mitch McConnell is.
Uh,
No, I'm gonna hold out on the filibuster. Just kidding. So
just a tower of canned food pretending to be another food.
I feel like he's just canned food in a trench coat. Anyways.
Just 2 cans stacked up behind a trench coat to look taller.
Those are Brooke's talking points on how to talk to your Republican family and friends, which I feel like might be a new thing if you like that. If you like just little kernels and tidbits.
Do you like that? That's like, that's a nice,
we should do a poll. Do a poll.
do a poll, yeah. I feel like that's another good, like, lo-fi study mix, but it's just, like, chill out, lo-fi beats, and Brooke giving you talking points to talk to your Republican family.
Oh my God. You know what it is? It's like, remember Boz Luhrmann's Sunscreen? Remember that weird-ass, like, 10-minute speak song he did?
I don't.
Oh my God. So it was just, like, trance music, and he just talked over it and was like, wear sunscreen. Talk to your relatives. Make sure you have fun. It was like this, like, live, laugh, love extended mix. It was on like the radio in the 20s. Oh my God, in the 90s, in the 20s.
Isn't it so weird that we're in the 20s now?
Oh my God, I know. It feels very, very Zelda Fitzgerald. So,
yeah.
I do want to also reserve some time though to talk about the lifting of the trans military ban.
Because I just say? They tried. They did try. Yes. Isn't it nice of them to try? To stop us from living our best lives? But here we go.
I love that the Republican was like so much for unity when that came out. And it was like, this was literally the definition of unity. Yeah. This is it. This is literally inviting everyone in is the definition of unity.
I even feel like it's a weird thing to celebrate because it's something like trans people joining the military is a public service that not everyone wants to do or can do. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why are we turning away people who want to... I mean, now, opinions about the U.S. military are very controversial, so...
We have a lot of them. But do what you want. Do what you need to do.
Yes, but at the end of the day, this is a really important step toward taking one of those barriers away to thinking of trans people as actual humans who do things. And it sounds funny that, are we still talking about that? Is that still the trans discourse? When unfortunately, yes, like there's 80% of people who claim they don't know a trans person. They probably do. It's just the trans person's not out in their life.
Right. Which it's not the responsibility of the trans person to do all of that work, especially if their life is at risk.
Right. And I mean, a lot of trans people, myself included, it's like, yeah, I know I'm going to be the token trans person in the room, but I take that work on willingly, knowing that nobody else is going to do it.
And I think that, I mean, kudos to you and the courage you have. I mean, I've really seen you take on so many complicated conversations. God, like even when we've just been at bars, and you've done an amazing job.
The best ones.
The best ones have bourbon at them.
Yeah.
But what I find really scary and what I think we have to brace for is these bills that are going to pop up in state houses now. So now that we have like legislative movement in the right direction on LGBTQ equality and trans rights, to remember that, especially in Ohio, there's shit coming down. There's shit there. There's shit waiting in committee, lurking.
Yeah.
Lurking. Oh God, it smells so bad. Lurking. Lurking.
She's gonna just keep coming up.
It's gonna keep coming up. It is literally gonna keep coming up. Trans bathroom bills. There's a bill out there where a Republican lawmaker wants to check on young girls' genitals at school, like have school officials check on young girls' genitals. I'm like, very normal, very cool, very upstanding.
Not invasive at all. Not
Good
invasive
thing
at all.
Yeah, we are the party of sex offenders. Oopsie doodle. It's you.
Let me start off by saying that I would say we weren't going to talk about queer political issues in every issue, but I don't want to make promises I can't follow up on. So
nor should you, Queen.
That's the content we're all here for. It's so funny that we're talking about the bathroom issue because that is something that keeps coming up because we can't move past it, right? Like the trans discourse can't move on to us talking about having full nuanced lives if we keep getting caught up on like surgery, medical intervention, and basic human rights.
Right.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because ContraPoints just released a video today about J.K. Rowling.
Ooh.
And
yes.
I have to out myself as a ContraPoints stan. I know she is also very controversial even within the trans community. But I think she's great as a fellow internet mom. I think she's
Yo.
fantastic. And she does a lot of talk in the episode today about obviously the turf discourse on one side. Like,
Right.
J.K. Rowling, who has a very, very polite form of bigotry. Like, I think the mistake of framing bigotry as always overt violence.
I love that.
Is that it sort of takes away from the fact that there's a lot of polite bigotry that's like, that's okay if that's what works for you. But I just think it's sad when we're forcing women out of their jobs because of people who say that sex isn't real. It's like, no trans person is saying sex isn't real. We all know that there are, like, I don't have the same chromosomes as someone who is assigned female at birth, okay? If for me to argue otherwise would be ridiculous. That's not what the argument is about. But I just think it's funny when we say, oh, we have to make sure that people going into women's restrooms are only cis women. It's like, have you talked to any butch lesbians? Because they get challenged when they go to the bathroom all the time. The ones getting policed in the bathroom are not a lot of trans women.
No, they're cis women.
Yes.
And it's irrelevant. I just want to like come back, and anyone in the chat,
I'm all hot.
I love, get yourself a drink, girl. Yells. I love like bigotry, the polite bigotry of specifically cis white women like me is it's so demeaning and silencing. Like, I've experienced it, and I guarantee I've perpetrated it. Them's the odds, killer. So like me, I love that. Just like, yeah, we're just, that's your belief, but like that face, right?
Yeah.
And you're, and it's almost more harmful because it's like, oh, I let you in my home, or we're out at a bar. I thought I was like safe to say what I wanted, right? And then it just smacks you in the face.
Yeah.
And when I see someone on the street at a pride parade holding homosexuality and sodomy as a sin sign, I know what I'm getting. But it almost feels like that, like, well, it's almost like the shit they say about trans people, like feeling betrayed because they didn't know, right? The double bind of the trans person coming out, is really reversed. And it's almost like, no, I let you into my life, and then like you betrayed me because I let you into my whole ass life, and then you stand there and you're like, oh, well, and it's always hidden behind some bullshit. It's always hidden behind religion or some crap. And don't even get me started on the Holy Spirit, girl. Leave room for it.
How is she? Have you talked to her recently? Is she doing okay?
What? I gotta say, as a little girl, I was always a little turned on by the Holy Spirit because I was never really into Jesus. So the Catholics have 3 gods in one because we're like kind of polytheistic, but we don't say it.
It's very Kabbalah. It's very
is.
Yeah, it's very occult, which is interesting.
Madonna. So the Father and the Son didn't interest me at all, but the Holy Ghost was always represented by their word. Please do it again. The Holy Ghost.
Swimming in a higher plane. Just
Yes.
Done up, nowhere to go.
Was always represented by, they called it fiery tongues. And I just like,
That's a little gay.
even as, it's a little gay,
Yeah,
right?
it's a little
Pretty
gay.
sure that's actually a queen on Drag Race this season.
Yeah. Please welcome to the stage, Holy Ghost.
Fiery tongues. It was just a whole thing. So anyways, on to bigger and greater and better things.
Yes, and before we leave this topic, I also just wanted to say, not to just rehash like talking points that were in ContraPoints' video today, but they're all just they were also good, and they really connected this kind of disagreement on both sides. Like we can't find a way to like understanding in the middle because we're both coming from a place of unresolved trauma, where it's like a lot of TERFs and radical feminists that and TERF, by the way, for those of you at home who have not heard the acronym, is Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist, and it is a movement of feminism that it does include queer identities, but does not include trans women or trans men for that matter. They think that trans men are lost lesbian sisters, but yeah, it's real messed up. But anyway, I think both sides, even a lot of trans people, are dealing with unresolved trauma, and it's hard to have a truly like, objective, level-headed conversation when we're all understandably feeling a little bit personally affected by some of the like things that are coming from the other side, such as like, oh yeah, I was attacked once by a man, and so hearing the fact that like this country now accepts gender confirmation certificates. I think this was in the UK with the
Okay,
J.K.
yeah.
Rowling thing. So like now Scotland will approve like gender confirmation certificates, and all that men have to do to say they're women is say that they are a woman. And she's like, and that triggers me because it opens the door to letting all men into women's spaces. And it's like, yeah, but it completely glosses over all of the like nuanced, complicated ways in which trans people are just trying to survive and feel like they can use a public restroom, because a lot of trans people go through their life avoiding public restrooms, myself included.
Trans people have 5 times higher rates of bladder cancer. Did you know that?
Yeah.
5 times higher rates of bladder cancer and bladder complications.
Yeah.
We are not only like, it's not just, okay, we don't want to kill our trans brothers and sisters, right? We don't want to kill our trans siblings, but also like we want them to live. Like bladder problems suck and bladder cancer can kill you. Like, are we thinking about the quality of life we're supporting within the LGBTQ community for our trans siblings? Like,
yeah.
I think that's also it, right? Like, fuck that. I don't ever want you to have to worry about that. Like,
yeah.
I don't ever want that anxiety. And God, this shit, affects work options. I mean, going into an interview at a job, you're looking around to be like, okay, are there gender neutral bathrooms? How close are to the thing?
Yeah.
All the extra, not to mention all of the extra mental and emotional work, the physical implications are incredibly damaging.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times the conversation gets derailed into like, well, whose oppression is more urgent, right? Or who's more oppressed? And it's like, it's not about that. We need to reconnect to this feeling.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, another really good point, and this is the last one that I'm going to bring up, but another really good point from that video is like, she's not a really big fan, and I'm not either, of this kind of common saying of trans women are women. Because it's true, right. Trans women are women, but I think it invites, the response that invites is like, well, what does it mean to be a woman? Can you define womanhood for me? And rather, it's a good idea to say something like trans rights now or trans liberation now, because the response is, well, liberated for what? And then we can say, I love that you asked me that question. And then it actually gets you into talking about queer politics and the ways that we're not still free, Well,
and I think that's kind of what we've talked about in terms of bringing our queerness into new spaces instead of fitting into the status quo, which is really difficult because like we both live in extremely suburban spaces, and shout out to all my queers in the suburbs. It's a whole motherfucking thing. I walked Penny and I was like in my I am pro-choice. What up, Narrow pro-choice? Yeah, love y'all. Narrow pro-choice t-shirt. And like, I'm walking by all the like the Blue Lives Matter flags and all the fucking bullshit. And I'm just like, look, like this is the shirt I wanted to wear. And also like, this is an organization I support. And also like, I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not just pro-choice. I'm pro-abortion. I'm queer. I'm all of these things. And like, I'm in a space where I'm trying to like retrofit, right, myself. And I love, my neighborhood. I love being here. I love all the things. The question is, how do you kind of still make a family and make a space? And like, I've talked with my girlfriend, because I have a girlfriend, and
in case y'all missed it last week.
And we were talking, and she was like, maybe like you could get on Nextdoor and do an LGBTQ night, like down the road when the pandemic's over. And I was like, I really want to do that, but I don't want to do it in my place because I want to like vet folks somewhere public and then like find the queers that get me. Because I think even within our community, right? Like you have to look and be like, look, I don't, there's just going to be certain people I don't connect with, and it's okay.
Yeah.
That like, but how do you find connection? How do you find,
steamy.
How do you find connection in like suburban environments? And
oh yeah.
And been in the suburbs way longer than me, girl.
Well, I mean, and I'm in Upper Arlington, so let's say I moved from Old North Columbus, if you know the Columbus neighborhoods. I moved from Old North Columbus, which is kind of like south of Clintonville, north of OSU campus. And I felt like I am in a neighborhood of like artists and queer people, and I'm like, this is where I belong. And then I moved in with my partner to Upper Arlington, And, of course, I was suffering from a little bit of preconceived notions about the area. You know, it's like, it's very white, it's very suburban. I don't know if I'm going to fit in. I don't know if there's going to be a space for me. Yeah. And actually, you know, what's surprising is what I realized is that I had sort of like a fantasy in my head about what it means to be part of the neighborhood that I just left. And I didn't really know my neighbors that well. I knew our next door neighbors. But I wasn't part of like the community of people that lived on the block. You know what I mean? So in some ways, I had to unpack the ways in which, like, if I'm going to be a part of any community, that's work on me that I have to do. It's not just going to happen. But like you, I want to be able to leave the house and be what I like to call legibly queer, you know? Or if I
love that.
If I can use the vernacular, clockably queer. Because, I mean, I like to leave the house like this, you know? I have a purple bowl cut, Brooke. Could I just address the elephant in the room? This is a very gay haircut.
Girl, but like you pull it off so seamlessly. Like, I'm like, can I say for real, the first time you met my mom, we came from a show. You were in like sequins. I think you might have had a tiara.
Strapless
full gown. Yes, yes, gorgeous. Very sensual. You had purple hair, but it was long and curled. And I think you might have had like some sort of wiglet or assist. I don't remember.
Yeah, I had feathers.
Feathers, that's what it was, not a wiglet.
A wiglet, a half wig.
A wiglet, yes. And my mom fell in love with you.
Oh, I fell in love with her.
Oh my God. I was like, I'm not even here. And then the next day, my mom and I just went to breakfast and I was like, you know, Mom, you did really good, like hanging out with my 6 foot tall friend who was covered head to toe in sequins with purple hair. And my mom looked at me dead ass and goes, who had purple hair?
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was like, yeah, who is she?
The woman you were enamored with for hours last night. And I was just like, oh my God, this is the power of Eileen Galvin. Like they don't even see color. Oh no, here we are. Hold on, I want to do Venetians or Vienna sausage walrus.
Should I go back to the dish cam for this?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. It's really hard to stand. They're so slippery. Okay.
Tusk 2.
The Reckoning.
Yeah.
They don't stay in. They're so slippery. They're not meat. Oh, my whole mouth tastes like meat.
Brooke, I didn't know how to tell you this, but I don't want to do this with you anymore.
But you know what? I didn't know how to tell you this, so I thought I'd tell you on live. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't want to text you that I wanted to break up, so I decided to do it on Facebook Live.
Oh my God. So what I want to do is definitely comment in the chat or message us if you have queer suburban stories, because I want to hear them and we could totally talk about this next week. Next week we have the hottest topic, but I want to be cognizant of everyone's time.
Yes,
and thank you all for listening.
But we need to make sure that we close out with the story, the legend that we promised that we tell last week.
Yes, I'm going to keep drinking this wine while you start it.
Okay, speaking of being queer in the burbs, are you okay? Are you okay? Your poor stomach.
I'm okay.
Your whole system must just be like, I'm on strike. I'm not having this.
Okay, I mean, I haven't... The things we do for love.
Yeah.
Eileen and I were living in Old North. And my ex had moved out. It was just us girls.
Yeah. And we decided we were going to do some home improvements, which for two femmes, dangerous. Like, no one should have given us...
Not like sexy dangerous, the way Akon sang it. Like, that girl is dangerous. Not that. Literally dangerous. Like, could electrify yourself.
Yes. So we decide that in the front window, so we had one of those living rooms with the front door and the front window right next to it. So we were a little bit too exposed. Do you know what I mean? We were just a little bit too, we're getting too famous to just have anyone walk by and be able to see us. So we needed to cover it up. You know what I'm saying? So we decided to get a Roman shade. And so the Roman shade came in the mail and we had to put the wall brackets. We had to put the wall brackets on the wall. So we were like, we need some screws. Mind you, we don't know what type of screws. We didn't measure anything. We had no idea. We were flying in completely blind. We
were hungover from Bossy Girls Pinup Joint, original year it was opened.
Yep.
And there's a phone ringing. It's not my phone.
Oh.
Oh,
okay.
sensual.
It's very light.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. We get there. I'm hungover the way I'm hungover, which means I'm in Abercrombie and Fitch oversized men's basketball shorts and like a hoodie. It was like August. And Eileen shows up in
this. I showed
back it up, yo.
In this very frock right here. You know, summertime, showing a little bit of looking like a little sensual bumblebee. And I think I had.
This is how he dresses hungover. Also, for the record, it's infuriating. Keep going.
I think so. I didn't have a face on like this, but my hair was in. I think like rollers, like hot rollers.
Yeah. You had hot rollers on. So we roll in.
Very subtle look.
We don't know what we are getting. We are stressing out every Home Depot employee.
Babes in the woods.
And I really, truly didn't like get it. Like I was just like, what is the problem? Because I didn't understand. So we get up to the counter and oh my God, that poor woman, she did her best.
Yeah.
But she was so confused. And the bill came up and I was like, oh honey, I got this. And her face. And we got like 4 things. We bought like 2 screws and like one, like we had like this bag. Yeah. Just tiny little things. And then Eileen left her giant ass purse at the counter.
I did.
Giant. Purse the size of a small state. Huge purse. And we walk away and I'm like, Eileen, you forgot your purse. And Eileen turns around and the woman turns so red when Eileen says this.
And I was like, oh, thank you, babe. You know, I'm just butterfingers with these things. I leave things everywhere.
Oh my fucking God, get us out of this store. That poor woman, everyone was just looking at us being like, who's the man?
That's where you see like the simulation starting to glitch at the edges and like, you know, reality is just starting to crack apart and it's like, we broke the simulation.
Place is you know what, but I will say I'm going to bring you to every family wedding. So shout out any rogue cousin who's on here. If you invite me to your wedding, Eileen is my date. I have made that clear to anyone I've dated. Oh, this is a summer casual frock. No, this is more. There is more. You may make
There's
Eileen
levels.
your wedding officiant by the end of meeting her. So get ready. Invite her to the rehearsal dinner. This has been fabulous. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we're going to talk about monogamy or lack thereof.
Yes. Monogamy. Who's got it? Who wants it? Who needs it?
No one needs it.
Well, that promises to be a very exciting session. So we will see you all again.
Comment on your queer suburbs tales. We'll keep talking about those. And please comment on what else I can never cook again and what I should cook again. Eileen's going to turn off the video as I put this in my mouth because I'm not going to eat it, but we're going to pretend I am. Ready?
And before she does that, or maybe as you're doing that, just do a real slow. Just say, thank you again for joining us. Cover Dish is 7 p.m. on Tuesdays, every Tuesday here on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much. See you